How many times have you been walking in the old town streets without knowing where you are and what the history contains surrounding buildings with its architecture, monuments and landmarks, roads and rivers, and all other small details that make you stop and explore for a while? As a matter of fact, we have been in such situations plenty of times before. We were taking photos in picturesque and historical sites again and again, and apparently we didn't have a clue where exactly we are. In fact, we felt similarly once we visited Antwerp first day, since we didn't have enough time for preparation. As a result, we decided to find an expert, a professional guide, who could tell us much more that you can see now. Because of Antwerp's size, we decided to find something with the wheels and accidentally found information about Antwerp Tuktuk. In this video, Inge from Antwerp Tuktuk will tell us some exciting stories about this beautiful Belgium city.
Welcome in Antwerp. My name is Inge and I'm the owner of the company Antwerp Tuktuk. Today we're gonna do a tour, a 2-hour tour from the center to the north and back. I will tell you a lot of stories and a little bit history, but it's not boring. We just go with the tuk, driving, and I will stop on a regular basis. You will learn in 2 hours a lot regarding Antwerp. Behind me we have the cathedral. The name of the cathedral is Our Lady. In French it's Notre Dame. So Our Lady is the patroness of Antwerp. So Our Lady is Maria with the child. And this is the highest tower in town. 123 meters high, so you will never forget it's 1, 2, 3. We are at the Green Platz. So 400 years ago, I will be with my feet in the grass. This was a cemetery without stones, so poor people were buried here. And then on the other side of the cathedral we had another cemetery with stones, more for the rich people. Antwerp is not only known from the big harbor, because we are the second harbor in Europe. Rotterdam is the first. So we are also known for the diamonds, for the chocolate, for the beer, and also fashion. Fashion is very important in Antwerp, and it all started in the 80s. This is the real fashion area, and if you want to buy some shoes from our designers, you have to go to that shop over there. A little bit more expensive, but the real quality. We are here on the Friday market, so this is the real name of this place, and every Friday we have a second-hand market. And this is since 1548, and it's a second-hand market. Maybe some family member died, a grandmother, and then the whole stuff, the chic stuff, goes to the antiquaires, and the rest will be sold here. And it's very, very popular, because you can buy here a chair for like €5, plants for €1. So it's very, very popular, not only for people from Antwerp, citizens, but also for tourists. So you have the ambiance here. And the rest, you have the main square in the center, and that was the place, the market for the more chic stuff. €1, €2, sold. And this is for more than 400 years. Sometimes I will show you some hidden places, and I'm in the front of the Moretti Museum. It's a printing museum, and it was in the hands during 300 years of the same family. This is the garden of the museum, and it's from the 16th century. And it is a combination of the house, the offices, and the really fabric where they're printing the papers. Because that time you could buy here the papers, and then you had to go to another profession, and that's the bookbinder. You choose your leather cover, and then they start to create a book for you. The end of the 19th century, the business go down, and the family provided the whole thing, the house, everything into it, and they offered it to the city of Antwerp. And now it's a very, very nice museum. This house had 3 water pumps, getting the water from the groundwater, and it's more or less it was drinkable. But normally people were getting the water from the wells, and water from the wells was not drinkable, it's just a little bit for cleaning. And therefore in the 16th century people were drinking beer, a lot of beer. Like an average of 400 liters beer per person per year. That's more than a liter per day. So in the 16th century, Antwerp was the metropole of Europe. We had a harbor, but the harbor was inside the city. So we had a lot of canals inside the city. But then the boats get bigger and bigger. And end of the 19th century, this river became a river harbor. So we straightened the Scheldt. And then later on, the harbor moved to the north. And we have a lot of docks in our harbor. Behind me we have the first stone building, the castle. It's 1,000 years old, and this was the start of Antwerp. This was a prison as well. When they stole something, yeah, the punishment could be cut off your hand, or if you had and did a murder, you will be hung a little bit further. And now today they are renovating the castle, and in 2 years when you come back in 2020, this will be the touristic point. The cruise ships all over Europe will be there. There we have the new terminal, and people go off the ship, go into the castle, the touristic point, and see immediately what happens in Antwerp. So that will be in 2020. It will be finalized. What you see behind me is the Maas. It's a museum at the stream, and it has been built in 2011. It's very new, and since then this whole area has been very, very hype. The old warehouses turned in very fancy lofts, and this is an expansion of Antwerp. With a little bit imagine, fantasy, you see the building, you see the containers, and the glass is the water. So this is a highlight, a landmark between the city and the harbor. This is a map of Antwerp and the harbor. This is Antwerp, and until 1880 all people were living here. And only in 1880 they turned down the Spanish walls, and then we had another expansion after 1880. This was Antwerp. Here we're living like 100,000 people. So where we are now is here, and those are the first docks of Antwerp, and then the harbor expanded. And if you take a look and we go further and further, the docks get bigger and bigger. And Antwerp is very known for petroleum. The rough petroleum is coming from Rotterdam via pipelines, and then made in kerosene. And then again via pipelines it's going to Brussels, to our airport. We are also very known for stock of fruit and coffee, and therefore we have a lot of coffee shops and also shops for chocolate, because we have a lot of chocolate beans here in our harbor. We can, with our stock of coffee beans, offer per day the whole world 1 cup of coffee. We arrived here at a little harbor, pleasure harbor, but this is also the first dock of Antwerp with a lock to the river. And maybe you know this guy, the French guy Napoleon Bonaparte. He came here the first time in 1803 and he decided to build his military dock over here for his military ships, because he was in a war with England and it was like a pistol on the heart of England. So he had his military ships with all the cannons. England would go via the river and attack Antwerp. Napoleon Bonaparte was ready with his frigate ships. Behind me you see a piece of art. So these little white guys with a square head, and the creator, the artist, is Daisy Bowman, and therefore we call these little guys the Bowmannetjes. So, and on the top you see the whisperer. He's whispering a message. We are in the middle of the administrative center. It's the main square with our city hall, and in the middle we have this nice statue, and that's the history of our name Antwerp. So on the top you see a very brave soldier, and he's calling Bravo. We know the castle and there's living a big giant. So, and in the 16th century each shipper has to pay a lot of taxes when he is arriving in Antwerp. And when the shippers are not paying the taxes, the giant is cutting off the hand and threw it in the Scheldt. Brabo, with 7 companions, he went on the ship, a little ship, on the Scheldt, on the river, and then he started a fight against the giant, and they won. So what happens? He cut off the head, he cut off the hand, and then threw the hand in the Scheldt. Throwing a hand is also like hand warp. A warp is throwing away. So there we have the name Handwarp or Antwerp. Behind me we have a very nice example of one of our warehouses, and this is part also of the old docks. This is a very nice example of a warehouse attached at the first docks of Antwerp. It's built in 1860, and today it's the archive, the paper archive of Antwerp. We have like 38 kilometers of paper archive. So let's have a look inside, because we have a very nice alley over there. This warehouse, built in 1860, this was for a pack house to store grains, coffee and a lot of other products. So, and 2 years later we had a big fire, and the city decided to make a brand, a fire alley. So, and this is still the fire alley, but turned in a little street. And today this is the archive of Antwerp. So we have like 38 kilometers of paper archive. These are the old fire doors, more than 100 years old. And you see a little hole. Any idea why this little hole is inside?
Sorry guys, looks like that we have some technical issues, but we promise to give you an answer in the next video. What is more, very soon we will show you the video about Harbour cruise with the pancake boat. We'll tell you about Waterloo battle, the trip to Bruges, and 2 stunning bigs in Paris. In order not to miss these videos, do not forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.